Okay, so let's write our title. Our title is usually our agenda. So today is 8/24/23, and we're gonna be learning about area of a trapezoid. Area of a trapezoid. All right, if I write, you write. Whatever I write, you write. You can do it now. I can pick you up during lunch. You can do it during lunch. That's cool too. But area of a trapezoid is what we're doing. We're falling behind. Okay, we can do that later. Now we're writing notes. Where are we going to write our notes? Area of a trapezoid, the date, the title, in our notebook. We have everything in our notebooks. Everything's organized. Use the back of the sheets. Does anybody know what how many sides does a trapezoid have? It is a quadrilateral.
Oh, four. Oh, so four.
Four. Very good. So it is it's a quadrilateral. It's not a rectangle. It's not a square. It's not a parallelogram. It's a trapezoid. So it's a different shape. It actually reminds me of the Pizza Hut logo. So it starts off with two parallel lines, but one is longer than the other. So it starts off this way, and then we close it. So draw two lines, one longer than the other, and then we're going to close it. And it should look like a rooftop. All right. So here is my trapezoid. Now, trapezoids are extremely special because are the size the same? No, they're all different sizes, right? And we have these like slanted lines here, kind of like a parallelogram. They're slanted, but they go in the same direction, so they're going to cross. See, if I extend these two lines, they do end up crossing. They do end up crossing. Like a triangle. So they're not parallel, but these two lines are parallel. Does everybody know what parallel lines are?
The same.
They don't cross, right? There's two straight lines. They're not equal. They're like railroad tracks.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay, so these two are parallel. These are not. They're going to cross. Okay, so pretty cool trapezoids. Now, trapezoids have two bases. It has a base here, right, which is like a triangle. But it also has a base on the top. So what makes trapezoids are super cool is that they have two bases. Now, whatever I write, you write. If I somehow, like, you can't read what I wrote, please ask your neighbor or ask me. Sometimes I squish my letters too much and it's hard to understand. So these are two bases. It's like they have two sets of feet. Because this is a base. And then watch, it's magic. It's magic. It flips over, and now this is the base. I know. It's like, you know, it's cool. It's interesting what a teacher sees, you know. Should not look up. All right. How do I recognize that there's two bases? Well, in trapezoid world, ladies, there is a base 1 and there is a base 2. These two numbers are actually extremely important, so make sure you don't skip it. Sometimes kids are like, I don't have to write that down. No, yeah, you do. So this is called base 1 and this is called base 2. We identify that as base 1 and base 2. Now, just like a triangle and a rectangle and a parallelogram, we need a height. How tall is this shape? Where do you think I'm going to put the height? It's going to be with a dotted line and 90 degrees. This is called your height. Now, does anybody know why I have to put it like in the middle?
So, because you can't measure both of the other sides because they're slanted.
They're slanted, exactly, right? Good job. So these two are slanted, so they're not giving me an accurate measurement, remember? It's kind of like when you went to go stand by the door, you can't really go like, oh, look, I'm 4 feet tall because I'm slanted. So there's 3 parts to this trapezoid. Your two bases, and then your height. Those are the 3 parts. All right, so now we get to learn the formula. So, area is equal to your height, which we use an H for height, multiplied by parentheses. Base 1 plus base 2 inside the parentheses. And then we're going to divide by 2.
Easy math.
Totally easy math. Now 100%, it looks really hard, it looks really complicated, and you got a lot of letters in here and some numbers. But it's really not. If you really pay attention, it's not hard. My goal is to make the math easier, but I cannot make it easier if you're not paying attention. That's my goal for the whole school year. The whole school year is to make the math easy for you. But I need your help. Pay attention. All right, so this is your height, and then inside the parentheses are your 2 bases, and we have to add. And then we will always divide by 2. Like a triangle, we divide by 2. All right? So it looks really hard. I mean, if someone walked in here late, they'll be like, what are you guys doing? But it's not. Trust me. All right, so this part of your notes are like your basic notes. You can always go back to this and go like, okay, that's my height and whatnot. Now we do example problems with numbers to help us practice. So we're going to draw another trapezoid. And this one we're actually going to include numbers so we can actually, do the math. It's a math class. All right, so I'm going to have your bottom base 1 be 6 inches. Your top base be 4 inches. And then your height will be 5 inches. 4 inches, 6 inches, and a height of 5. So we write all this down. I'm not taking it now. We're doing this. Because this is what's going to be on your quiz. Your first quiz will have trapezoids. So you want to make sure you're paying attention. All right. So let's do it. Let's plug in your numbers. Area equals. Okay. The H, the height. Which number represents my height? 5. Thank you. Now we're going to put parentheses. And there's a plus sign. If you turn it in, I'm going to give you 0. You have to do this. If you're not on task, your assignments will be 0s. All right. What 2 numbers go in here?
4 and 6.
4 and 6. So we're going to put the 4 and the 6 inside. And what's the last thing I have to put? Divide everything by 2. Okay. Do you guys know the reason we use parentheses in math? Yes?
So that 6 and 4 go first, so we add them?
Yes. We add them first. Oh, do you guys see how I put the 4 first and then the 6? It doesn't matter. You can flip these 2. You can put the 6 first and you can put the 4 second. That's fine. The 5 has to go outside. If you put the 5 inside, your math will be wrong. Your 5 has to go outside. Your height has to go outside. These 2, you can flip them, but this one has to be outside. So, perfect. I have to do this math first because it's in parentheses. So what's 4 plus 6? 10. So we have 10. Okay. And I didn't say this is second period. I'm just assuming you guys know. But do we know what it means when there's 5 and then the parentheses? Okay, cool. Yay, 6th grade. So we're going to multiply. What's 5 times 10? 50. Then we have to divide by 2. Good. You have $50. You're going to give me half. You're going to give me 25. So area is equal to 25. And what are my units?
Inches squared.
Very good. Inches squared. On the do now, you can't type in the inches squared. But of course, in our notes, we will include inches squared. All right. So, again, looks kind of complicated. Looks like a lot of work. But the math shouldn't, in general, be hard, If you need your multiplication table here, go for it, Dividing by 2. Okay. All right. Let's do another problem together. Got all that down? All right. Let's do another trapezoid. Boop. Boop. Another trapezoid, and we're going to do 3 centimeters, 9 centimeters, and 10 centimeters. maybe 10 seconds after you finish 10 seconds after I do. All right. What number represents our height? Good. Which one represents base 1? 9. 6. What's base 2? 3. All right. So now let's do the math. Let's plug it in. The first thing we have to do is plug in our numbers. So you know it has to look something like this. Right? That's your skeleton. So this is how it starts. And then we got to plug in our numbers. Right? So what number goes outside? 10. This one's the most important one. 10, your height has to go outside. You cannot put it inside. Never. Okay. What two numbers go inside? 9 and 3. Base 1, base 2. Those go inside. 9 and 3 go inside. And what number will always go on the bottom? 2. All right. What math do I do first? Addition. Because it's in the parentheses, we are going to add first. What is 9 plus 3? 12. All right. Write that down. 12. 12 parentheses 10 divided by 2. Does anybody know the trick of multiplying by 10?
Add a 0.
Yeah, add a 0. So you take this number 12 and you see the 0, you just add it on the end. That's it. So you put the number 12 and then you add the 0. So 10 times 12 is 120. That's the trick with multiplying by 10. That's why when I ask you like, hey, what's 50 times 10? 500. Now how could he possibly do that so quickly? 50 times 10. Well, all he did was add the 0 at the end. All right, divide it by 2. Here's how you do the long division. 120 divided by 2. Refresher for some. So, does 2 go into 1? No, 0. Does 2 go into 12? Yes. How many times? 6. 6 times 2? 12. Bring down the 0. Do you see how there's a space right there? We have to fill in that space. My answer is not just 6. So you have to do this. What goes on top? Well, how many times does 2 go into 0? 0. So my answer is 60.
It's also easier if you get rid of the 0 and then just divide by 12.
Yeah, and then add the 0 back. We're not there yet, though. But if you know, you know. Use it. Area is equal to 60. Very good. Centimeters squared. Okay. These examples that we do in our notes are for you to learn and then use when you're doing your classwork, when you get your homework next week, when you review for your test next week. Probably have our first quiz next week. Yeah. Right before open house. Yay. All right. Let's do a different type of trapezoid. This one reminds me of Homer Simpson's shoe. I know. It will start off with a 90 degrees. And then the top part has a smaller line. And then it connects. There. That's a trapezoid. Does it have 4 sides? Yes. Are 2 sides parallel? Yes. The top and the bottom are parallel. But are the sides parallel? No. One's like this and one's like this, and they will cross, right? So that's why it's called the trapezoid, not a rectangle, not a square, whatnot. All right. So this is your base 1. This is your base 2, right? So that doesn't change. Those 2 are parallel. Those are your bases. Where's your height?
In the middle.
No.
Outside.
On the outside, on the left side. Why is this now your height?
It's
straight.
It's straight. And it has a 90 degree. So sometimes you can use it. Only if it has that 90 degree symbol. So this is your height, okay? Because it's straight, not slanted, okay? and it has that 90 degrees. So we can actually use it. All right, so we're going to say that this is 4 feet, 11 feet, and 6 feet. All right, so let's plug in our numbers. Can you actually, I'm not looking for the answer. I'm looking for, can you plug in all the numbers before I do? So try it out, a little test. Can you plug in the numbers before I do? So that's your first test. Can you do it before I do it? So plug in your numbers before I do it. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. At least you're trying, right? First test is, can you plug them in correctly?
Incorrectly?
Depends on the day. All right. So, what number goes outside? Yes. 6. What 2 numbers go inside?
11.
And what number goes on the bottom?
2.
So, if you were able to do that, you're like, great. You're awesome. Because if you can't do this, that's bad. That's bad. At this point. All right, let's do the math. What's 11 plus 4? 15 times 6 divided by 2. Our agendas, page 146. What's 6 times 15?
60.
Yeah.
90.
Yep, 90. 3 times 15. All right, divided by 2. Miss O'Malley, I don't know how to divide. All right, well, we're going to practice together because not every time you'll have a availability of a calculator. 4 times 2 is 8.
30.
Remainder 1. Bring down the 0. 2 goes into 10. 5 times. That's how we show long division. I know some of you can do it in your head, like you know what 90 divided by 2 is. Others of you, we have to practice doing the long division, taking one number at a time, right? How many times does 2 go into 9? 4. You show the work. Long division only gets easier the more you practice. It's not going to magically become better. 45. What are my units? Feet squared. Very good. We're good? We okay? Are we ready? Okay. Now, I need you to create 8 boxes in your notebook because our classwork, if you know me by now, is there any way you can show work here? No. And what's the number one thing I grade? The work. So there's no way. No way. So create 8 boxes while I pass out the worksheet. Create 8 boxes.
There are 8 questions.
No, but I'm going to have you do 8.
Like, put this together?
What do you mean? You can continue like at the bottom of your notebook if you want. You can do like 4 on one page, 4 on the other page.
Oh, no.
We want to use up every square inch of your notebook. You know? We're going to show work in these boxes. We're going to show work in these boxes. So as you set up, pass out the papers, pass it back. 8 boxes. 8. Okay. Last people. 8 boxes. Huh? Yeah, tomorrow. We'll start it today and finish it.
There's 9 boxes. There's 9 of them. There's even 9.
Focus on this maybe like in 5 minutes. Let's see it start. Alright.
Wait, what?
So we got our 8 boxes ready to go. I mean, I guess. I mean, technically you're right, but it's funny. It's funny. Ah, kids. They're funny. All right. We are going to do number 1. Here it is. Number 1. Box 1, number 1. All right. So, just to remind ourselves, you don't have to do this in every box, but it's always nice to write it down in the first one. Okay. So, here's my formula, right? You don't have to do this every single time, but on the first example, it's good. All right. So, look at number 1. Where are we going to plug in these numbers? Where are we plugging in these numbers? So what number will go outside? Very good, 6. 6, parentheses. What 2 numbers go inside? 48. Okay. And then what number always goes on the bottom?
2.
Good. So if you don't do this step correctly, everything else will be wrong, right? If you put the 6 inside, everything's messed up. If you're not dividing by 2, it won't work. Kind of like your do now in the triangle. Some of you got it wrong because you didn't divide by 2. Either we caught it or you got it wrong. Okay, what math do I do first? Inside the parentheses. So what is 4 plus 8?
12.
So 12 divided by 2. So I'm going to write that down. Oh, can't see it, but I'll write it. Filling in my little box with all my work. Filling in my little box. Agenda, if you need it. Page 146 in the back. Good. If you need it, you need it. If you're good on your multiplication tables, you don't need it. Use it if you need it. 72 divided by 2. Nice. Good job. Very good. All right. If you know it, you know it. If you need to show long division, show long division. Here's how you show long division. You take 72 inside and 2 outside. If you can do this in your head, fantastic. So 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. We subtract. We get a remainder of 1. We bring down the next number, which is 2. Now I have 12. How many times does 2 go into 12? 6. And that's 12. And I'm done. So I'm going to write down my answer as 36. What are my units? Inches squared. It 100% seems like a lot of work, right? But if you take it one step at a time, it's not that bad. Any questions? Yes? How do I get what? How do I get 72? Yes. No, not really. Do you have a separate sheet of paper? Like not from your notebook in your binder? So let's see. 6, because I got, did you get 12? Did you get 12? Okay, so I'm going to go on my agenda because I'm super cool like that. And I am going to go to 6, and I'm going to go to 12, and I'm going to see where my fingers cross. 72. Right? So that's how we got 6 times 12 is 72. You can use your agenda. Some of you have this memorized. Fantastic. Some of you need your agenda. Fantastic. Whatever the case is for you, you know you do you. All right, let's get to work. If you can work faster than me, at this moment, you're working faster than me. All right, everybody start number 2 by plugging in your numbers. Everybody start number 2 by plugging in your numbers. If you are number 3, you are a number 3. Fantastic. This is where you kind of go faster with me. And then you check in with me on your answers. No? Are you good? What number is my height on number 2?
4.
4. So that number should go outside. Number 4 should go outside. 4 should be go outside. So you're working on number 2. Not waiting for me. Yeah, I was yeah. Okay, so change that to 4 and the other number is correct. So you plug it in correctly. Sooner than that. Now you give it up. Parentheses or Adam. All right, what'd you guys get for number 2? What's your answer? 30 feet squared. Very good. So if you got 30, you're on the right track. If you're like, I'm still on number 1. We have problems. Okay, so good. And then how many times is 6 still getting? Well, it's like I 2. 2. Yes. So you do the parentheses first. What's in the parentheses? So right, 15 times and then 10 and then 4 outside. And then that. Perfect. 4 times 15. Agenda or universe? No. These two have to be Jesus. No, the baby will go like forever. We can. This one. Yes. So we have the 0, right? How many times do you have this? And then bring them. Show work and see it. I mean, if you're on like number 5, keep going. Cool. If you're still on number 2 or 3, if you're on still number 2, please ask me for help. Ask your neighbor. Ask me. Yes.
Picture of a pencil.
We just have to do
What time's the bell?
16.
16?
It's all 6.
Oh, we're good. Got scared for a second.
What page is the
146. Okay.
The
So
one
we're gonna do the same thing we did here. Okay. Where do you get the 10 from? Where do you see it in the picture? Okay. So where? For number 2, what would be that number? Looking at number 2. Yeah, so write it down. It's gonna look just like this. So what number is the same? Okay, and then parentheses. Good, good, good. Perfect. Okay. What 2 numbers go inside? So what 2 numbers go in here? And where did I get that 9 and the 3 from? And, yeah, so now you look here. What 2 numbers are there for number 2? Right down. Okay, and then put a 2 right there. There should be a 2 there. Okay, looking for what? Good. What's our next step?
Is this the height?
Mm-hmm. Add. Use the fingers to add. If you need to use fingers to add, use your fingers to add. I've had this question twice already. Number 5. People are like, yo, which one's the base? Which one's the height? So your bases always go in the same direction. So these 2 are my bases because they go in the same direction, right? This and this, are they going in the same direction? Nope, so they can't be my bases. So your bases will always go in the same direction. These 2 are my same direction, so those 2 will be my bases. That's how you can determine which one's your base. And sometimes you have to rotate your paper to see it. Can you do that? What'd you get? Good. Okay. And then, okay, how many times is 2 going to 6? How many times is 2 going to 6? Not 6, just 6. What's 4 times 2? Number for 6. So go to 2 and find the 6 on the 2 line. Go to 2, put your finger. Where do you see 6 on the 2? Okay, go to 2, right? And you see the 6? Go straight up and tell me the number. Yeah, that's the number we put on top. What's 3 times 2? Okay, right there. Got it. Put down the other 0. Okay, how many times is 2 going to 0? That goes on the top. Okay, that's 2 times 0. 2 times 0. Yeah, so that one on the bottom, and then the bottom. Okay, now, what number is it? Times or 10? Yeah. Okay, now multiply with 4 times 15. Agenda time. Multiply. Yeah, is it?
This is right.
10, yeah.
Wait, where do we turn it in? We don't turn it in yet? Or-
No, not yet. I'm gonna have you do a couple more tomorrow, and then turn it in. And I don't expect everyone to finish today. So if you did, good job.
Is this right?
Which one? All of them? Let me see your paper. What's your answer for number 3?
3, 72 squared.
What's your answer for number 3? What's your answer for number 3, guys?
57.
57. Yeah, 57 yards squared. 57.
Alright, so fix your work. Okay, now divide by 2. Put divide by 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. They're 7th graders. For 7th graders, right, then divide by 2. So far, so good. This is me 15 minutes. Someone be afraid? Can you succeed? And then this is, yeah. No, listen. Are you sure no what? Oh, what time are we leave?
16. Oh, we live on 1 minute.
Okay, we leave in 1 minute. Keep everything tomorrow or upload it. Don't lose anything.
We have to do this some more.
If you're not done with 5, you have to do homework. I need you to do 5.
And if we already did 5.
Then you're good. You're good, you're good. Your turn tomorrow. But if you're like, I'm on number 2, you guys can do homework. Up to 5. Yeah, you should all be good except